Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast. We're reviewing the many games from last week and previewing the many games for this week. There's also some transfer news and everything you'd want from a football podcast. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review, and the big one there is share the podcast around. Right, let's get into the football. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the football podcast.
Recording in progress.
Yes, indeed. Welcome on in, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, even aliens, if you are listening out there. Welcome on in. It is, of course, your weekly dose of footballing, hell, as it turns out to be this week. Just truly awful football. It's the hope that invariably kills you off in the end. I'm not alone, as those of you who are joining us on YouTube can already see. I have these three wonderful men joining me to take you through the ups and downs of their respective clubs, Cook, Moore and Woodmansey respectively. How are we doing this week, fellas?
Middling. You?
Or just peachy?
Yeah.
I love football, me. It's a great sport. You always get what you want from it.
Way to sell the podcast, Paul, you know.
yeah, pretty much. Well, you know, I feel like we've been doing this for long enough now where people know that, you know, you either get positivity or nothing but malaise and downright just, well, for want of a better phrase, it's shit.
And sometimes both within the same week as well.
I mean, it's a phenomenon that's lesser seen, but we digress. So, last week I believe we opened with the transfer window slamming shut on all of our teams respectively, so there'd be definitely no more ins and outs to happen unless some other sort of business went ahead. And of course, Middlesbrough took that to be a challenge, as even though they're struggling for attacking options at the moment, they received notification that a team in America wanted to sign one of their players. So I know what you're thinking. It must be an astronomical sum of money, an offer the club couldn't possibly turn down. Something the player possibly couldn't turn down. Well, I'll give you the details, and we'll see if this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, shall we? So the player in question is attacking midfield option Matt Crooks, who, of course, has finished a season as top goal scorer for Middlesbrough, no less. The league in question was the MLS, the American top division. The club in question was Real Salt Lake City, and the groundbreaking or life-changing fee that was discussed was undisclosed but reported by some sites to be £830,000.
Is he out of contract or?
Nope, don't think so.
Not at the end of the season.
Not now.
Pretty sure he had at least another year to go on his contract up until next season, so they were in absolutely no position where they had to sell him or lose him for free. Just seems like an incredibly short-sighted one to me.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I don't want to be that guy, and obviously nobody's paying over £800,000 for me, but that's in football terms, that doesn't even register, surely.
Well, I'm pretty sure we paid more for him when we signed him from Rotherham.
Oh, it's definitely, you definitely paid millions. There was definitely a muff after the amount that you paid.
I seem to remember it being in the 1 to 2 range, so you could argue that they've lost money. Obviously, yeah, fair enough. He's older than he was when he signed, but he's not like in his late 30s. He's clearly a player that's in demand, and unless they just were in a position where they felt they weren't going to offer him a new contract and just let his contract run out at the end of next season, then maybe you could argue that it is good business. But for a team, like I said, that is struggling with two, that's right, two recognised actual strikers in the club, to sell a guy who is arguably your tallest forward player and could definitely do a job in that central striking role, which he has played numerous times before, in a season where the playoff race is probably the tightest it's ever going to be, where you could argue that up to about 12 teams in the Championship could arguably get into those playoff spots. It just stinks of poor like first team management to me. I know he's not the best player in the squad, but you don't sell a player who knows a division and knows how to play a role when you're severely lacking in that area of the pitch. That is just.
I get that, but if the offer's put to him as well, what if he has his head turned by it?
Well, apparently, like that. This a part of his. He did pen a goodbye letter to the fans and to the club, as seems to be the case these days for anyone who spends more than about 80 seconds at a club.
Was he sat on a posh chair when he read it? Is that the exit?
It wasn't. It was just the letter. It was just like posted as the letter. No video recorded as far as I'm aware. But he did say in there that he felt it was an option that an opportunity that he couldn't pass over. So I assume he's maybe heard of the bid being made, and he said to the club that he wants to go. So fair enough. You don't want to keep a player who actually wants to go. I suppose that's the other side of the coin. But to let him go after the transfer window's closed, when the only option you've got is to bring in free transfers or unattached players who clearly aren't wanted by clubs, just seems a bit backwards to me. But that's just me. Has there been any business outside of the transfer window for your boys?
Oscar Estepinian, if you remember, got loaned out to Metz and then recalled from his loan at the end of the transfer window with a view to being loaned out somewhere else. Then the transfer window closed. Now he's gone to a team in Brazil. So I'm not quite sure what the transfer window is there, but still, he's never coming back. He's just bouncing him around like the big bald-headed buffoon that they think he is. Except for I would quite happily have him back as a backup.
I definitely had a different B word on my bingo card there, so after you said big-headed, yeah.
Trying to keep it clean for bloody kids, isn't it?
Absolutely he is. Matt?
We just had the one, George Shelby. So remember, I think either last week or the week before, I joked about us having 5 or 6 keepers that therefore put together to make a Power Ranger keeper. We've now lost 2 of the keepers now. So obviously Horvath left for Cardiff on deadline day. George Shelby has joined Dundalk United in the Irish League. And it's a permanent transfer. I presume they don't have a transfer window as such, because he kind of heard about it during the transfer window and then carried on training. And then next thing you know, he was asked if he wanted to go, and he said yeah. So he's I think it's one of them ones where it's kind of like, as you slowly see more and more keepers walk through the door, and you realise your opportunities are not going to be coming kind of quick. At 22 years old as well, go and get some game time somewhere and see where it takes you. It might just be like a build back up again, go and get some kind of performances on tape, as it were. and then come back in the future. So yeah, kind of another academy player gone. So all that PSR, financial fair play, it's pure profit. I mean, I would suspect we probably didn't get much more or even vaguely close to what you got from Matt Crooks. I suspect it's probably like a tenth of what you got for Matt Crooks for George Shelby going to Dundalk United. I can't imagine they're chucking out the big bucks.
Undisclosed fee.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, is it undisclosed fee because you're going to fiddle it somehow in the books? You kind of go, alright, yeah, we sold him for 10 million. Like, what, to Dundalk United? Where did they get 10 million from? I'm like, well, you know.
And then in really small letters next to it, it says Freddo's. Is the
Evangelos Marinakis gifted us 10 million to buy our goalkeeper.
I don't know if this was this season or if this was like another season. I just think this, but I could have sworn I'd seen something on Twitter where apparently he wanted to sign a player from Olympiacos for the Forest first team, but the transfer window closed. So all he did was he basically terminated his contract at Olympiacos to make him a free agent, and then signed him as a free agent for Forest.
Yeah. I wonder if they've managed to shut that loophole now, or whether they've just kind of gone, it didn't work out for him, because I do not remember that player playing for Forest. Would be the...
Exactly. So, transfer business done and dusted. Hopefully that will be the last time we have to say that for the course of the rest of this month, and indeed the rest of this season. But as we said, certain transfer windows remain open, and obviously free agents can be signed between now and the end of the season. So, done and dusted with transfer talk, we'll dive into football game talk. And we started this week, as it were, with Andrew's latest team, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and they welcomed Brentford to town. Obviously, we've made jokes over the last couple of weeks that obviously the ink on Andy's latest team tattoo isn't even dry before he's having to move and get a new tattoo booked in. Yeah, those jokes aren't going anywhere fast, as Wolves lost 2-0 against Brentford. Goals from Norgard and Tony, putting the old goal to the sword and ensuring that Mr. Cook's list grows by another team for the season. Predictions-wise, myself, Stuart and Matt had all predicted draws. I had gone 2-2, Stuart had gone 2-2, Matt had gone 1-1. I had Cunha and Juan to score for Wolves. Stu had Neto and Cunha to score for Wolves. Matt had Cunha to score for Wolves. Cunha got taken off after 20 minutes. Wang wasn't even in the squad. I think Neto played the full game, but obviously Wolves didn't score, so we all picked really well there. However, on the Brentford side of things, I had Sarabia own goal and Tony to score. Stu had Tony and Maupe to score. Matt had Tony to score. So we each get a point for the Tony goal scorer there. Andy, however, had absolutely no faith in his new boys whatsoever and had gone for a Keane Lewis Potter 1-0 win for Brentford. So gets himself a point for the result, but sadly, no goal scorer points. So, 1 point apiece through the first game. Our second game saw Hull City take on Swansea City. And you can probably tell from the tone that I gave at the start of the podcast, this one didn't really go to plan either, did it?
No. So, the game kicked off. Hull didn't touch the ball for about 10 minutes. It was the first time that I feel that they've turned up to a game and just expected to roll the team over. And it didn't happen. Swansea put a shift in, first 10 minutes, and took a deserved lead on 11 minutes. They got a corner, played it in, sort of a ground pass to the near post, edge of the box, and just slapped it in. But they'd obviously worked on it because they'd packed the 6-yard box with pretty much every player, so drawn all the defenders with them, and then just let one guy peel out, and that was it. It was Cullen that scored for Swansea, and the ball was put in from the corner by Josh Tyman, who used to play for us, who had a really good game. But yeah, didn't really go very well. It was drab. Half time sort of came around and we're thinking, something's got to change. They'd clearly had you get in 10 minutes and if nothing changes, I'm starting to make changes talk. Well, guess what? Nothing did change. So Rosenior decided that he was going to take off Louis Coyle at right back, put on Billy Sharp, obviously not at right back. There's certain sections of the crowd that may sit very closely behind me that have been complaining about Louis Coyle for quite some time now, and that he sticks out like a sore thumb, and that maybe they should put Regan Slater at right back because he can play anywhere and he would definitely be better than Louis Coyle. So Billy Sharp comes on for Louis Coyle, Regan Slater goes to right back. It's like the next England manager read everybody else, the reading her mind. However, I'm pleased to report that Slater was just as terrible at right back as Louis Coyle had been for the game, so, try again next week. Hull didn't get any better at all. The nearest they came was a through ball from the keeper directly through to Billy Sharp. There's a bit of a coming together with him and the defender, and the Swansea goalkeeper had come out for it as well, and it bounced up off his knee. And it was headed for goal, but it didn't have enough pace on it to the point where one of the other defenders could catch up with it and scoop it. And that was it. Like, just rubbish. Absolute rubbish. The interview after the game with Rosenior, he's always very calm. But you know when sometimes you can tell that someone's calm, but absolutely fucking seething? It was very much that, and it dropped us out of the top 6. A little bit of a bash to the momentum, as things have been over the last, few games as well. So yeah, not a good day at the office, particularly in front of your home fans as well.
Yeah, not good. Also not good from a podcast predictions perspective, as we all had varying degrees of Hull home win. Andy had gone 1-0 with Sharp to score, and then we'd all gone 2-1. Obviously, no Hull goal scorers, and sadly neither of us had a goal scorer named Cullen for Swansea. He had Wood, Ronald and Yates, respectively, so no points for anyone in that game. And the hilarity for our teams continued as Middlesbrough played Bristol City at the Riverside. From the highlights that I have seen, the first 15 minutes seemed to go quite well. Borough seemed to be on the front foot. Possibly should have taken the lead when the ball brought to him, Hackney in the box, but he managed to find his shot wide of the Bristol City goal. And then in the space of 2 minutes, Borough found themselves 2-0 down. Really good going. Well done, lads. The first goal was scored by Jason Knight on 16 minutes. Borough just allowed what appeared to be their centre half just to carry the ball through the middle of the field completely untouched. He played the ball into Knight on the edge of the box, who made his way into the box, managed to turn both the keeper and the defender in one move, and then just slot into an empty net. Pretty horrendous defending. And then the second was scored a minute later when the ball was given away really cheaply by Hayden Hackney in his own half. Just passed the ball straight into the path of Matty James, who was playing in the midfield for Bristol City. He pounced on the loose ball, just advanced to the edge of the box and slotted it past the keeper to make it 2-0. And when you're 2-0 down after 17 minutes, you're always going to be up against it to get back in the game. Borough huffed and puffed for the rest of the time. Did manage to eventually get an equaliser. I wish an equaliser. Did manage to get a goal back in the 91st minute. There was a ball down the right hand side for Luke Ayling to get onto, where he crossed it to the edge, the left hand edge of the box, where Finn Azaz had a shot on target, which clipped the back of Sammy Silvera and just completely wrong-footed the goalkeeper to go in. I think there was about 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock at that point. The Borough just weren't able to chase an equaliser. So succumbed to a 2-1 defeat. Borough winless in 3 games at this particular point. Predictions-wise, Stuart gone for a 1-1 draw with Azaz and Pring to score, so no points there for him. Everyone else had gone for a Borough win. I went 1-0 Fours. Matt had gone 2-1. Greenwood and Fours. Conway to score for Bristol City, so not the right score, just the wrong way around. Andy had gone 2-0 with Fours and Silvera, so just managed to bag himself a bonus point for the goal scorer there. So, 3 games down, 3 defeats. Can Forest stop the rot at home to Newcastle United, Matthew? No, of course they bloody can, because it's a team that one of us supports, so of course they were going to lose. Get in the fucking bin.
Get a team that one of us support and that we all hate. So, of course, it was going to be that kind of day. Yeah, I think in a world of, I mean, I hate stats. It really kind of gripes on me when they fetch the. I don't want to be the nerd. Here comes the nerd, football nerds out. But like, expected goals. All right, okay then. We all expect a lot of things to happen due to decisions we make in life, but they don't, do they? I just, it's one of those stats where it's like, expected goals, because the ball went into the box. But a glaring kind of stat is the fact that Forest conceded the most goals from set plays in the league. We are 20th out of 20 teams. So, yeah, I mean, Forest apparently started the game quite bright, had their fair share of the game, and kind of still, apparently, I mean, I complain about Forest not learning lessons, but also Newcastle don't seem to learn lessons either, because cast your mind back to about 6 weeks ago, and I seem to remember Anthony Elanga just running amok on St James's Park for 90 minutes, and Newcastle didn't seem to do anything about him doing that, more of which will come in a minute. But obviously Forest were in the game. Apparently Elanga was terrorising Dan Berneke, which is hilarious, but Forest conceded a corner, and I'm going to get very grouchy here. I've defended more grouchy than normal, and I think I've been one of the people that's defended VAR. I kind of understood why it was introduced. You know, it was kind of like the referees were getting kind of judged and sentenced by technology they weren't allowed to use. So fair enough, introduced VAR. And last season it was too strict. This season it is not strict enough, because I've watched the goals back. I've watched the goals back several times. First, and I'm going to kind of think, the first goal, Newcastle take the corner short out to Kieran Trippier. Anthony Elanga, who is the quickest person on the field, is shoved by Anthony Gordon to stop him from getting to Kieran Trippier. So then everyone goes, he didn't close him out quick enough. I'm like, yeah, it's a bit difficult when someone decided to take tips from, the NFL, and Anthony Gordon, apart from the fact he's not a weedy little bastard, would make a really good offensive linesman with the hands that he used to kind of slow Elanga's run. Of course, Trippier has enough space to deliver the ball into the box, and Bruno Guimaraes, the cracking finish. You can't complain about the finish. There's nothing you could do about that. But, the defending was poor. I would say there's some level of gripe about Gordon's involvement in kind of blocking along Elanga's run to try and close down Trippier. All is going quite well. But Forest get themselves back into the game. Elanga has a couple of chances. Well, has one chance. Nick smartly saved by the keeper. But then, similar deal again. Gibbs White picks the ball up in the midfield. Plays it neatly between Dan Burn and Newcastle centre-half X. To which Elanga burns through. Newcastle keeper comes flying out and Elanga just tucks it underneath him. 1-1, really good finish. But again, Forest managed to shoot themselves in the foot, and this one's the most egregious one. It's a free kick from the halfway line, and the ball's just dinked into the box. Somehow the Newcastle defender wins the ball. No Forest players around. And Shaw tucks it in the back of the net. Absolutely no problem with that one. But Forest keep on plugging away. And Hudson-Odoi, just before half-time in added time, I think it's kind of like his signature goal. He gets it on the left. He either plays the ball in, gets the ball back, and then has a crack. This one got a deflection in the back of the net, so Forest go in 2-2. Decent kind of thing. Second half starts. It's a bit more cagey in the second half, I think. But midway through, Awoniyi gets played through on goal, kind of not clean through, but is kind of heading towards the goal. I think some people said, maybe you could have taken it earlier, possibly could have done. Gets a little shove in the back from Shaw, and then goes to take it around the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper takes him down. And I think the more times you look at it, the more egregious it gets. The one thing I hadn't noticed when I was ranting and raving to you guys on Saturday was the fact that all of a sudden his arm goes up in the air as if he's, I don't know what ball he was saving, because the ball was past him by then. And, I've heard, Andy Hinchcliffe kind of hinted the fact that Awoniyi went looking for the penalty. I don't agree with that for 1 minute. That was his natural. He had to put his foot somewhere, and that was the natural place for his foot to go. It didn't make an outward movement or anything. Then it would have run out of play anyway. Who gives a shit? It was a foul in the box. It's a penalty. I think it's this kind of, we've lost. I think the problem is, in all of this, with all the rule changes, I don't think anybody actually knows what the bloody rules are now. I always thought you got a penalty because it was a foul in the box. Whether the ball was not near the player or not, it was still it's still a foul in the box. Therefore, is a penalty. Didn't get that one. However, Forest later on in the match, Forest break up a Newcastle attack. Good tackle from Nico Williams. Plays the ball to Anthony Elanga, who decides to play a ball across his 18-yard box, or on the diagonal across his 18-yard box, to which Guimaraes swoops in to pick it up. Dan Burn sets a basketball screen, so we switched sports now, we're playing basketball now, and he sets a screen to stop Nico Dominguez getting across to possibly put a little bit of pressure on Guimaraes, who tucks it in the back of the net. Some people said the Forest keeper might have been at fault on that one. I think it was just a really good finish in a kind of tight spot through a lot of people. But yeah, unfortunately Newcastle run out 3-2 winners.
Yeah, I think the most egregious one was definitely the penalty decision for me. Said to you boys in our group, watching it back, I just cannot see in what scenario that's not even suggested that the ref goes and takes a second look at it, because it's the keeper's making absolutely no attempt to get to the ball. Like Matt said, the ball was already past him at this point, so his only aim at that point is to stop the striker from getting to the ball, and he's successfully doing it. So how is that not the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity? I do not understand.
The whole point with the VAR thing as well is it's how many times we get told a week it's there to help the referees. Like, give him the help. It's like, who is it to then say, no, don't even look at it because it's not worth a look at it? It absolutely was. Like, the problem is they've got into this routine now of if the referee goes for a look, it's given, regardless of if it's right or wrong. That was never the point of it in the first place. The point of it was to give the referee a better look at it, surely.
Yeah.
To do the match of the day thing where they slow it down, they show it from different angles and go, I don't know how the referees fucked that up. Whereas now we won't even give him the chance to look at those different angles to then fuck it up, kind of thing. But it's very quickly rendering itself absolutely pointless.
Yeah, we'll move on, because if we get into VAR chat, I think we'll possibly be here until the next game. So predictions wise, again, no one had a Newcastle win, because in what universe would they? Andy had gone for a 1-0 Forest win with a 1-0 score, so sadly gets no points there. Matt had a 2-2 draw, so it was almost close. That dubious third goal for Newcastle. His goal scorers of a 1-0 Gibbs, White, Wilson and Barnes, rendering pointless, sadly. Myself and Stuart both taken 1-1 draws. Stuart a 1-0 and Guimaraes. I believe after I talked him out of Anthony Gordon. So you're welcome for the Guimaraes goal point there, Stu.
Yeah, thanks very much. I mean, if you're feeling generous, you could give me the extra ones in as he scored twice, but
No, there'll be no need for that. Whereas I had Elanga and Wilson to score in my 1-1 draw. So just the 1 point each for myself and Stu there. So just to recap after 4 games. Matt on just the 1 point. Andy, myself and Stu, 2 points each in 4 games. Just 2 games left in this raft of week 28, I believe. 28 fixtures. But before we get into Rotherham versus Hull City, we're actually going to take a small break just to reset our batteries, so we're ready to come at you with more football-based nonsense. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Recording in progress.
Damn straight. So, we pick right back up where we left off with Rotherham United versus Hull City. And, as we discovered last week, this would be a momentous game, as it was the first live in-person attendance of a away fixture for two rather important people, I believe.
It was. It was a trip out for me and my boys and my wife, and we've met some friends there as well. So it was a full-on family occasion, as it were. Had a little cheeky trip over to Rotherham a little bit earlier in the day, thinking we'd have loads of time when we got there, and then really glad we did set off early because the traffic was horrendous, to the point where we literally went for some tea, went to the stadium. The stadium wasn't bad to get to. Parking wasn't expensive. It was a nice, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it was a nice little ground. I'm sure League One will really enjoy it next season. And maybe, who knows, they can take their Sheffield friends with them. But it doesn't look good, does it, for Rotherham? Although, after 4 minutes of the game against Hull, it did for a period of time, look better, as Hull, looking for a response from the absolute shower that was the Swansea game, didn't really do it at all. And we're 1-0 down, after 4 minutes to a half volley from Teehee. Definitely wasn't funny. The keeper looked like he could have done better from our angle. However, having seen it back, there was a slight deflection as well, which took it sort of underneath him. Yeah. Again, thinking, right, this might be the thing that sparks him into life now. Nope. And the familiar feeling from the weekend's game started to sink in. Wasn't exactly the happy trip, and definitely not too sweary away end that I'd envisaged when we were taking the boys, because frustrations were growing towards half-time. But half-time came. They must have had an absolute rocket at half-time, because they came out looking like a different side. It tells you something when the home fans that voted for their player of the match voted their own goalkeeper as the player of the match as well, which was... although Hull had 21 shots, but only 9 of them were on target, so it probably looked a little bit... looked a bit better than maybe it actually was. But yeah, like first half, Hull literally had one chance, that was it. It was a Billy Sharp header that went straight to the keeper, right down his throat. But half-time came, and lots more chances followed. Ball was played a lot down the left. They decided that they were going to move Ryan Giles up the field, which seemingly, as Paul will well know, is his preferred position. Bombed down the left, took the... bit of a 1-2, took the ball on the edge of the left-hand side of the penalty area and absolutely rattled it against the sort of the peak of the crossbar and left-hand post. Bounced back into play, and a newly reformed Ozan Tufan, who'd been subbed on at this point, seemingly looks like a different player. He's borrowed Sonic's red boots because he's found another gear. Pressing Rotherham in their own 18-yard box, forced a loose pass from their defender straight into the path of Jayden Philogene, who was then forced out to the right-hand side of the goal. Looked like it was going nowhere. Probably should have put a cross in, and been the absolute cheeky, filthy bastard that he is. Tried a Rabona from the right-hand side, and, well, it went in. If you haven't seen it, try and find it. It's a lot of fun. It's even more fun when you sat right behind where he took the kick from. So that was... cue the scenes in the away end as all of us went mental, and... yeah, the guys in front of us that definitely weren't sneaking their beer into the stand definitely didn't have any drinks left after that goal went in. So yeah, 1-1, thinking, right, what's going to happen now? Are they going to sit back? We've got a goal. Are they going to go back to what they were? Nope. Kept pushing, and 4 minutes later, Hull took the lead with, wait for it, gents, the debut Hull goal for Noah Ohio in the Hull accent. Again, ball played down the left, and it was a pinpoint cross across the ground actually from Giles again. Pretty much put the ball on the penalty spot. A nice little finish from Ohio into the bottom right hand corner. Keeper couldn't really do anything about it. It was, yeah, talk about a game of two halves and all that cliche, but yeah, absolutely was. And in the end, got to come home happy with 3 points on the board. Boys' first away game, which, as I pointed out last week, means that they now have the distinction of their first ever home game being a victory and their first ever away game being a victory, which is not something I can claim either. So I was pretty chuffed for them. The only disappointing thing was we couldn't pick up a programme on the evening because for some reason they decided not to sell them in the stadium. A little bit of a strange choice. But I have managed to track one down for them, so that'll be getting delivered. So they've got their little memento of the evening.
Very good. I was going to say if you haven't already, you should be able to reach out to the club and just say, have you got any leftovers, or just or the next time you're in, mate. Well, I was just going to say the next time in Rotherham.
Next time you're in Rotherham.
Because I imagine you go there all the time.
I mean,
Yeah.
like in theory, it's not going to be for a few seasons, is it? So,
Well, not next season, the season after, yo-yo. So not next season, season after that you'll be able to go again.
Yeah,
we genuinely had the conversation last night of, I wonder how many Lego pieces it would take to build this stadium, because it was there was a lot of empty seats in the home end. The attendance was just a shade over 10,000, and the full took nearly 3.
Way to show the home support.
It was sparse. When we looked it up, I think the capacity is something like about 12,000, but it looked like there was a lot more than 2,000 empty seats.
Well, they count season ticket holders regardless of if they're in the seats or not, don't they?
I suppose. And I can only assume anybody who works in the kitchens, the cleaners, the stewards, and everybody else that might have been.
Rats.
Oh, they've taken the WWE approach to giving the attendance. See.
No, not quite, because they didn't announce it as a new attendance record at every given opportunity.
So, predictions-wise, only Mr. Cook was the person to not go for a Hull City win. He went for a 1-1 draw with ease and Zarori to score. Sadly, no points there for Mr. Cook. Myself, Stu and Matt had all got very degrees of Hull City win, so we get a point at least for the result. I had 2-0 with Tufan and Carvalho to score, so just a point for the result there for me. Stu had 3-1 with Clucas to score for Rotherham, Tufan, Philogene and Zarori to score for Hull. Again, just the result point for him there. It got that he doesn't get the Philogene goal because obviously it didn't take the reflection.
Well, Mr. Williams, put that point back on the board, because if you check the updated Sky Sports report, it's been to the dubious goals committee and it's been credited to Jaden Philogene.
Bloody hell! Right, I'll have to redo the book. Bear with me.
Points. It was going in, regardless. Definitely was going in. Should he have attempted it in the first place? Absolutely fucking not, but, the cheek of it. That's twice, though, this season now. There was that game earlier in the season at home where he scored with a back heel after giving people the eye, and then now this. It's like, he nearly scored with a bicycle kick in the same game, actually. Forgotten about that one.
Nice. Well, that point does mean that that change to the goal scorer does mean that Stu does get his point for a Philogene goal. And what's even more important is that Matt had a 2-1 Hull away win. So bags 2 points for the result. He also had White to score for Rotherham, Carvalho and Philogene to score for Hull. So I guess he's have a bonus point for the goal scorer. And we finish off the week with Preston North End versus Middlesbrough. And I am starting to count the amount of times this season I have had to say the phrase, Middlesbrough started this game very well, on the front foot, had them under pressure, could have scored. Then they have a switch off, a lapse of concentration, and find themselves 1-0 down. One ball over the top, controlled by Miller. I'll just double check, I believe it's Liam Miller. Just double check. Yes, Liam Miller. Controls the ball on the edge of the box. First time shot, fired at the near post. Goalkeeper gets absolutely nowhere near it. Should have done better. 1-0 to Preston. Just poor again from Borough, just switching off when there's absolutely no danger. Same for the Hull game, we're under no pressure. Same for the Sunderland game, under no pressure. Switch off momentarily, find himself a goal down. Arguably should have had a penalty in the closing moments of the first half when Marcus Force got himself clear in the box, turned to sort of go towards the goal and finish off a chance, and the Preston defender just decided, well, the best way to stop him is just to sort of bear hug him here. But that's absolutely fine because we're playing rugby, so that's fine. Referee looks right at it and decides, no, it looks fair. I think we should just play on. Absolutely fine. So it goes into half-time at 1-0. Second half starts, Borough again on the front foot, peppering the West Ham. Peppering the Preston goal with efforts, nothing really coming from it. Until, just double check the minute, I believe it was around the 60-minute mark. It was indeed the 57th minute. The ball makes its way out to Finn Azaz on the edge of the box. Lovely footwork, just to sort of make himself a little bit of space, shifts it onto his right foot, and then absolutely creams one into the top left-hand corner. An absolutely fantastic way to open his account for the Borough. Really, really nice finish. Given where the game's gone, shame it was all for nothing. As literally 3 minutes later, there was a bit of a mix-up in the box. As the ball made its way out to the left-hand side of the box. I can't remember the player from Preston it was that had the shot, but it takes a deflection off the Borough guy on the edge of the box, completely wrong foots two of the defenders, and the goalkeeper who decides to dive early, completely missing the flight of the ball, where it lands at the feet of Emile Rees, who all he has to do is just slot it into the opposite corner because the keeper's already down. Oh my God! Just another one where we've just absolutely shot ourselves in the foot. Just in control of the game. I'd got ourselves back into the game, arguably on the front foot, keeping them pushed back. Switch off again, let them in. One chance, goal. Again, huff and puff to try and get back into it. Had a couple of chances where they probably should have scored. Luke Thomas playing at left back had an effort when he was down the left hand side, managed to wriggle his way into the box. Quick feet just to sort of move it past a couple of players and then just spooned his shot wide. Game peters out to a 2-1 Preston North End win, and just another. I'm just sick of the amount of times this season where Borough have just basically given the points away, because just so frustrating when they just completely switch off and just let it. And I'm not just saying this because just watching the game, Preston was so poor in possession of the ball, out of possession. They were all over the place. They weren't showing themselves to be a quality side. I think they've won 3 on the spin now as well. I don't know if that's just because Ryan Lowe's got them playing in a particular manner where they're just able to just shithouse their way to a win. I don't know, but oh my word. Just really, really poor. Predictions wise, I had a 2-2 draw, so a nice equaliser would have been nice, getting some points. I did make up some points by having Rees and Azaz to both score in the game, so I do manage to get 2 points for that. Stuart had a 1-0 Preston win with Rees to score the winner, so bags himself 2 points there. Sadly for Matt and Andy, Matt had a 1-1 draw with Keane and Fours to score. Andy had a 2-1 Borough win with Keane to score for Preston, Greenwood and Silvera for Borough. So sadly no points for Matt or Andy in that one. All that means is at the end of the 6 games this week, Andy comes out with 2 points. Matt with the revised Philogene goal comes out of it with 4 points from 6 games. I had 5 points from 6 games. Stu takes the week with 6 points from 6 games. Well done to you, sir. So, week 29 comes at you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games of football. The first of which sees Andrew's latest team the Bees, Brentford taking on Liverpool. Obviously, it's Mr. Cook's team. He will give us his prediction last. I'll just jump straight in here. I feel like Liverpool, in a strange kind of way, I feel like this is sort of a good time to play Liverpool. Obviously, with the news of Mr. Klopp deciding that his talents are best spent elsewhere, and maybe it's time, or maybe he's just thinking there's other divisions, there's other countries that he'd rather go and moaning. Sorry, not moaning, managing. Oh no, I was right the first time, moaning. So I think there'll be a bit up and down between now and the end of the season. I've actually gone for a 1-1 draw in this. I've gone for Tony to score for Brentford and Jota to score for Liverpool. Matt, what have you got down for Brentford versus Liverpool?
I've gone for Tony and Jota to score, but I've also gone for Nunez and Alexander-Arnold to score for Liverpool as well. 3-1.
Tony, Jota. You said Darwin Nunez?
Yeah.
And then Alexander-Arnold. Stu?
Well, I've gone for Brentford 1, Liverpool 2. I've gone for Mope for Brentford, purely because Tony can't score in every game since his return, unless it's on his betting slip. And for Liverpool, I've got Jones and Nunez.
So we'll come to the Brentford fan. Now, obviously, the first question we have to ask Mr. Cook is, what are the websites like for both Brentford and Liverpool?
I can't give you any information about Liverpool's website because I had no need to visit their website. I am in an unfortunate position as a Brentford fan, as both teams that are being played this week, I cannot put any support behind. So if Liverpool win, I'll have to bow out of the running here, and if the other team win, I will also be bowing out of the running on this one. So, having said that, it's almost like it's written in the stars what I'm picking here. It's a 1-0 Brentford win, and Stu?
Ian Lewis Potter?
Correct answer.
Let's hope he's got magic in them there boots. Our next game sees Nottingham Forest taking on West Ham United. West Ham, of course, coming off the back of a humbling 6-0 home loss last weekend at the hands of the Arsenal. Obviously, it's Mr. Moore's team. He will give his prediction last. I'm going to jump in here. I've gone for a 0-0 draw, which sounds mental as Forest are at home, so it's probably going to be 2-3. Stu?
I've got a 1-1 draw. I think Forest will score, being at home. I've got a 1-0 for that. I think West Ham will be trying not to fall into, I don't know, the big hole that opened in East London on Sunday of the weekend. Because Jarrod Bowen will save some face for them. Maybe he can just increase his value and go to a proper club in the summer. Who knows?
Maybe so. Andrew?
A 1-0 Forest win. And seeing as he's back, I will predict him until the wheels fall off. So a 1-0 to score.
A couple of weeks then.
So just to clarify, that was a 1-0 with a 1-0.
A 1-0 with a 1-0.
It's already seen the best before date on the recent injury list, then.
Go on, Matt, how do you see it playing out between you and West Ham?
I've gone for a 3-2 West Ham win.
Jesus Christ.
I just can't see it changing. I've got a 1 year Morgan Gibbs White scoring for Forest.
Yep.
Suchek to score for West Ham because pick a lanky streak of piss that's playing for whichever team in the next few weeks and they'll 100% get a goal because set plays. Hello? Is it Kudu?
Kudus. Yep.
And, because we haven't heard this before, their set-piece master, Ward-Prowse, it's not said every time he's stood near a football.
Oh, yes, but doesn't he only need one more free-kick goal to overtake Beckham as the best of all time or something like that in the Premier League?
Probably happen this weekend.
More than likely. Our next game sees Huddersfield Town take on Hull City. Obviously, it's Mr. Woodmansey's team. He will go last. Andy, what have you got down for Huddersfield versus Hull?
A 0-1 Hull win. Sharp to score their goal.
Matt?
I've gone for a 2-1 Hull win with Rudoni for Huddersfield.
Yep.
And Philogene in Ohio for Hull.
Remove the Rodoni goal, and you have my exact prediction right there. I've gone 2-0 Hull, Philogene and Ohio. How would you see your second away game in a row panning out, Mr. Woodmansey?
I have been to Huddersfield previously. We don't always travel well there. So I've gone for us to win 2-1 for a change.
Okay.
I have Karoma for Huddersfield. And I've got Carvalho and Sharp. Sharp's due, man. He's absolutely due. Carvalho seems to like having a pop from the edge of the box. So, at some point, hopefully this weekend, they'll both happen within the same game.
Fingers crossed. Our fourth game of what seems to be a very busy Saturday for our teams sees Leicester City take on Middlesbrough. Obviously, Middlesbrough being my team, I will give my prediction last. All I'll say at this point is Leicester are top and look good. Andy, what have you got for Leicester Borough?
Leicester are top and look good. Okay. 2-0 to the Borough.
Oh, you are in it. No scorers.
It's absolutely on the cards. It's the best way to set up the rest of time to just absolutely go out hard, beat the best. Fours and Silvera.
Stu?
I've got Leicester to win 1-0. And get that pen ready, Paul, because I've got Mavadidi.
Matt?
I've gone for a Leicester 3-1 win. They gave someone a thumping last night, didn't they? Vardy, Dewsbury Hall, and Iheanacho.
I think it was Chef Wednesday that they pumped last night, I think.
Azaz for Borough. That was a cracking finish tonight.
Certainly was. Like I say, it's a shame that it's all been for nothing than losing the game, but if you can ping a couple more like that in the top corner between now and the end of the season, we'll have a player around it, which is nice, because we've signed him permanently. So. I'm not as optimistic as any of you there. I've gone for a 3-0 pummeling. Mavadidi, Pratt and Fatawu. Just don't see us getting anything here. Although, I will give you this: the fact that we beat him earlier in the season, it would be the most Borough thing of all time to do the ball over the team that goes and wins the league by an absolute canter. Can't see it though. Honestly, at this point, I'd probably snap your hand off the 3, as I imagine at some point, if we play the way we've played against teams that are terrible at attacking, we could get really punished. But we'll see. Our fifth game of the week, and it's Andy's team back in. I can't think of the word.
Action.
That's the word. That is the exact word. Back in action. It's Brentford travelling to the Etihad Stadium to take on Manchester City. As we've already heard from Mr. Cook, I believe he has no love lost for the blue side of Manchester. Yeah. We'll go to him, of course, last for his prediction. However, I think he may be changing to being a blue nose, as I've got Manchester City to win this game 4-1. I've gone for 2 goals for Erling Haaland, and a goal each for Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne, with Wissa to bag a consolation goal for Brentford. Stu, what have you got down for Man City Brentford?
I've got 3-0 Man City. Similar to you in that regard, because I also have a Haaland goal. I also have a Foden goal, but I have an Alvarez goal as well.
Matt?
I've also got a 4-1 Manchester City win.
Yeah.
With Haaland, De Bruyne, Silva, and Bob. And Ivan Toney to score for Brentford.
Every time Bob's come up, it just makes me think of the Minions film with King Bob.
I think of that, and then I think of Blackadder as well. I love
Hello. Go on then, Andy. What are you hoping for your boys?
Obviously, see previous comment. However, I am not that much of a mentalist. So I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Haaland to score for City. And KLP to put another one in. Because, I'll just keep predicting that until it's not a thing anymore.
I think the thing that might be sort of causing you issues with picking Lewis Potter is I'm pretty sure they've played him as a wing back when he's playing for him. So,
Absolutely.
And not to sort of temper anyway, but this particular fixture last season was the last one that Man City played before the World Cup break, and Brentford beat. So it has happened before. I'll just say that. So our final game of the week sees Southampton taking on Hull City. Obviously it's Stu's boys, so he will go last. Now, Southampton do come into this having lost their first game in, I believe, 26? Or it was certainly in the high 20s anyway.
25 match unbeaten run, so yeah, 26th game.
So, sadly for Hull, I have got them to get back on their even keel, and I've gone for a 3-1 Southampton win. Got goals for Adams. I had just wrote Armstrong, and then realised they have 2. So I've distinguished it by going Armstrong A. That's not to say that Armstrong B would be the second choice. Obviously, it would be Armstrong S. And Edozie. And then I have got Billy Sharp to score, as he did have a spell at Southampton, so the old boy rule very much in effect. Andy, what have we got down for Southampton versus Hull?
So I think when I was looking earlier, I'm Southampton third in the table or something. So I was like, yeah, you gotta play the numbers here. So Hull to win 2-1.
Goal scorers, please.
I did not distinguish, so I get twice the chances, with my Armstrong pick. That's how we're doing that, yeah. I've also got Zarori, and I also picked Sharp to score for Hull.
Matt?
I've gone for a bit of a barnstormer here, but unfortunately not finishing in a positive Hull result. I've gone for a 3-2 Southampton win.
He's gone for the Forest score.
I've
Incredible. Goal scorers?
I put Armstrong ×2, and that was not just me saying there's 2 Armstrongs in the Southampton team. But I will commit to it being Adam Armstrong getting both of those goals. And I mean, every time you get Southampton, you're going to want a small bone. So small bone.
People who've been listening to the podcast for a number of seasons will know that is not the first time Matthew has small boned his way into the book. Your 2 Hull goal scorers.
Carvalho and Philogene. I'd forgotten that Billy Sharp had changed his red and white stripes for amber and black stripes now, but exclusively had enjoyed playing in red and white stripes for most of his career.
He did. Go on then, Stu, you get the joy of finishing us off this week.
I have gone for Southampton to win 1-0, and I have also specified Armstrong A. It's our 3rd away game on the spin, which just seems ridiculous. And also, it's like whoever has put these fixtures together has gone, I know what we'll do. We'll have you with 2 fairly near away games, because it doesn't matter that you're away from home twice in a row. Oh no, wait a minute, we need to chuck a 3rd one in now. Oh, let's do it on a Tuesday night, as far as you can possibly fucking get. Anybody in their right mind going into that game is either unemployed and has money, or is having to take days off work to get there and back to watch it. It's just ridiculous scheduling that.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you just have to sort of sit and just think, why do they hate football fans? It's just baffling. So that is all of your football predictions done. However, have you got some odds?
I've got some odds. I remembered this week because I remembered. So based around the Hull, Forest and Middlesbrough conundrum, unfortunately, the most likely outcome, according to William Hill, is for all of our teams to lose. As West Ham, Huddersfield and Leicester to win gives odds of 12.8 to 1. For all of our 3 teams to win is 24.3 to 1. And for all of the teams to draw, it gives us a whopping 42.6 to 1. So, fingers crossed, if we don't all get beat, I'd be happy if we all draw.
Very nice, very nice. We will just end with a good news story. Obviously, in the African Cup of Nations, hosts Ivory Coast won the tournament, and the winning goal was scored by Sebastian Haller, who has successfully fought and defeated testicular cancer. Well done to that man. A nice, happy story to end the podcast on a change. Thank you, as always, to these 3 gents for joining me to go through the ins, outs, ups and downs of our respective sides. Join us again next week, where we'll break it all down, do it all again, and I will no doubt have had to contemplate another thumping Borough win. Absolutely not. Yes, but until then, you stay classy, you take care of yourselves, and look out for each other as well. Until then, tatty bye for now. We'll see you next week.
So we already think to that. Another week of games gone, another week of games to come. All the football you could possibly want. Big thank you for watching. Big thank you for listening. Before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. That is it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.